Rain hammered the black umbrellas like accusations, each drop a reminder that Aiden was gone, stolen in a car crash that felt too clean, too convenient for the chaos of their shared life. Ashton stood at the grave's edge in Queen and Cemetery, Seattle's fog-shrouded hills swallowing the mourner's whispers, his identical twins' casket gleaming under the relentless downpour as if mocking the finality. Then, his phone buzzed once in his pocket. A single text from an unknown number. He didn't crash. He was running from us. Check the glove box photo. Ashton's breath caught, the world tilting as he stared at the screen, the words blurring with rain on his face. Aiden, his mirror in every scar and secret smile, the one who'd pulled him through coming out at 16 in their stuffy Capitol Hill apartment, now reduced to this cryptic lifeline from the grave. He slipped away from the cluster of relatives, his mother Evelyn's hand trembling on his arm, his father Marcus's stoic nod masking whatever storm brewed beneath, toward the rented black sedan parked under dripping cedars. The glove box clicked open with a reluctance that mirrored his own, revealing a faded Polaroid. Aiden, arms slung around a stranger with tousled auburn hair and a crooked grin, both shirtless on a sun-bleached Oregon beach. The date scrawled on the back, 2 weeks before the wreck. Who was this guy? Ashton's finger, the image searing into him like a brand. Aiden had always been the bold one, the twin who chased sunsets while Ashton mapped safer paths through Seattle's tech grind, coding apps for startups in Pioneer Square. They'd shared everything, first crushes on high school boys, late-night confessions over Rainier beers, even the ache of unrequited loves that left them hollow. But this, a secret lover, hidden even from him, the text burned in his mind, running from us. Us who? Family? Or something darker? Tangled in the Hale legacy of old money from Marcus's logging empire in the Cascades? Evelyn called his name softly, her voice frayed like the hem of her wool skirt. But Ashton pocketed the photo and forced a nod, the lie settling heavy in his chest. The service dragged on, eulogies painting Aiden as the golden son, charismatic sales rep for the family firm, always closing deals with that infectious laugh, while Ashton seethed quietly, the outsider twin who'd chosen algorithms over boardrooms. By dusk, as the crowd thinned and the hearse pulled away, he lingered, mud sucking at his boots, the cemetery's evergreens whispering conspiracies in the wind. Back at the family home in Magnolia, a sprawling craftsman overlooking Puget Sound, the wake unfolded like a poorly scripted drama. Relatives milled through the kitchen, plates of clam chowder and sourdough piled high. The air thick with salmon smoke from the backyard smoker Marcus had fired up despite the grief. Ashton nursed a bourbon neat, the burn steadying his nerves as he scanned faces. Aunt Clara from Portland, droning about Aiden's untimely spark, cousins from Tacoma, awkward in their condolences. But his eyes kept drifting to the doorway, half expecting Aiden to burst in with a sheepish grin, towel drying his hair after a surf session at Alki Beach. "You okay, son?" Marcus clapped a hand on Ashton's shoulder, his grip firm, calloused from years wielding chainsaws before desk work softened him. At 58, Marcus Hale was a pillar broad-shouldered, silver threading his temples, the man who'd built Hale Timber from a backwoods operation into a regional powerhouse. But tonight, his blue eyes held a flicker Ashton couldn't place, like static on an old TV. "Yeah, Dad. Just processing." Ashton forced the words, the photo a lead weight in his coat. He wanted to confront him, Demand what us meant. But Evelyn swept in then, her petite frame swamped in black chiffon, pulling him into a hug that smelled of lavender and loss. He was so proud of you. Your apps. The way you're changing the city. Her voice cracked, and Ashton held her tighter, guilt twisting like a knife. Aiden had been the bridge between them, the son who stayed in the fold while Ashton bolted for independence after college, renting a sleek loft in Belltown to escape the expectations. As the night wore on, guests departed into the drizzle, leaving the house echoing with absence. Ashton retreated to the guest room. Once there's as kids. Bunk beds swapped for a queen amid Aiden's rock posters and Ashton's sci-fi novels. He pulled out the Polaroid again, studying the stranger's face. Early 30s, maybe, with laugh lines etching his temples, a tattoo peeking from his shoulder, some Celtic knot. The intimacy in their pose gutted him, a reminder of what Aiden had withheld. His phone stayed silent. No follow-up text. Just the ghost of that message haunting the screen. Sleep evaded him, rain pattering like fingers on glass. By 3 a.m., he gave in, slipping downstairs to the study where Marcus kept files on the business. The desk was a fortress of mahogany and ledgers, but Aiden's laptop sat unclaimed in the corner, password protected with their childhood code, Twins Forever 87. Heart pounding, Ashton booted it up, the screen blooming blue in the dark. Emails first, mundane work threads, flirtatious notes from colleagues that made Ashton's stomach churn with misplaced jealousy. Then, a hidden folder, Beechwood. Photos flooded the drive. Aiden and the stranger, Riley, the name tagged in one geotagged shot at a rundown motel in Astoria, Oregon. Hikes through fern-choked trails, stolen kisses under lighthouse beams. Riley Voss, freelance journalist, his bio popping up in a quick browser search, investigative pieces on corporate malfeasance. Last byline exposing timber fraud in the Olympics. The pieces clicked unevenly. Aiden running from us. Hail timber? Marcus's firm had whispers of shady logging practices. Permits bought under the table. Had Aiden stumbled onto something? Ashton scrolled deeper, landing on an encrypted chat log. Aiden to Riley. Frantic messages from the week before the crash. They're closing in. Your article could bury us all. Meet me in Portland. Don't trust the family line. A chill slithered down Ashton's spine. The car wreck on I-5. Ruled mechanical failure. But now, sabotage? He slammed the laptop shut as footsteps creaked on the stairs. Marcus, in robe and slippers, pausing in the doorway. Can't sleep either? His father's voice was gravelly, eyes narrowing at the glow. Just remembering. Ashton stood, pulse racing, the photo burning against his thigh. Marcus nodded, lingering a beat too long before retreating, leaving Ashton alone with the shadows lengthening like doubts. Dawn broke gray over the sound, fairies cutting wakes like scars. Ashton dressed in jeans and a faded flannel, his armor against the suits of mourning, and headed out, texting the unknown number on impulse. Who is this? What do you know about Aiden? No reply. Instead, his phone pinged with a news alert. Hail timber faces scrutiny in fatal crash probe. The article cited anonymous sources. Riley Voss's byline nowhere in sight. Ashton's hands shook as he drove toward downtown, the Space Needle piercing the clouds like a question mark. He needed answers, and Riley Voss was the key. The man who'd held his twin in ways Ashton never had. The spark in a life now extinguished. Parking in a Belltown garage. He ducked into a coffee shop. The hiss of espresso machines a bomb against the roar in his head. Sipping black brew. He searched Riley's name deeper. Portland-based. No socials active since Aiden's death. Last known at a dive bar in Selwood. A lead. Thin as fog. But it pulled him south on I-5 that afternoon. The Cascades blurring past like forgotten dreams. Oregon welcomed him with coastal gusts. Astoria's bridges swaying in the wind. The motel from the photos squatted on a bluff. Neon sign flickering vacancy like a lie. The clerk. A gum-chewing woman in her 40s named Dolores. At his ID skeptically. Yeah. Riley checked out a month back. Left in a hurry after that storm. Said something about loose ends in Seattle. Her drawl thickened with gossip. Heard his buddy died up there. Car went off the road near Chehalis. Nasty business. Ashton's throat tightened. Did he leave anything? A message. Dolores rummaged under the counter, producing a battered envelope. For a Hail. Figured it was you. Inside. A USB drive and a note in Riley's scrawl. If you're reading this, he's gone. The truth's on here. Hale Timber's dirty deals. Your brother's proof. He loved you more than he let on. Protect it. And forgive me for pulling him in. Tears pricked Ashton's eyes as he clutched the drive. The weight of unspoken bonds crashing over him. Aiden. Entangled in Riley's crusade. Paying the ultimate price. Driving back north. The USB inserted into his laptop at a roadside diner. Files unfolded. Spreadsheets of falsified environmental reports. Emails from Marcus to shady contractors. Aiden's whistleblower notes timestamp days before the crash. Betrayal bloomed bitter. His father, The Rock, complicit. Ashton gripped the wheel. Seattle's skyline rising like judgment. He couldn't face Evelyn yet. Not with this poison. Instead, he veered to his loft. The drive's revelations replaying in loops. By nightfall, another text. Found the drive? We need to talk. Riley. The number was his. Relief flooded Ashton. Mingled with fury. They met at a dimly lit bar in Capitol Hill. The kind with vinyl booths and craft IPAs named after grunge legends. Riley slid into the seat opposite. Realer than the photo, tall. Lean from trail runs. Auburn hair catching the low light. Green eyes shadowed with the same grief etching Ashton's face. You look just like him, Riley said. Voice low. A whiskey neat sweating between his palms. Ashton leaned forward. The air thick with unsaid accusations. He was running from my family. From you. Riley's jaw tightened. Fingers drumming the table. From the story. Aiden found the docks last spring. His dad's bribes to skirt regs. Clear-cutting protected groves. He came to me because I was digging into it for a Pacific Northwest mag. We got close. Too close. His gaze dropped. Regret carving lines deeper. He wanted out. But Marcus cornered him. Threats. The crash was an accident. Brakes tampered. I think. Ashton's world splintered. And you let him go alone? I begged him to stay. Riley's hand reached across, hesitating before covering Ashton's knuckles. The touch electric. Forbidden. Warmth spread. Unbidden, an echo of the brotherly bond twisted into something raw, alive. They talked through the night, Riley's voice weaving Aiden's final days, passionate debates over ethics, stolen weekends in the dunes, the terror when Marcus's calls turned venomous. Laughter cracked through tears, shared stories of Aiden's quirks, his obsession with vinyl jazz, the way he'd dance badly to Prince in the kitchen. By closing time, the bar empty, Ashton felt the pull, a magnetic grief binding them. Riley walked him to his car, rain slicking the streets. "I loved him," Riley murmured, breath clouding the chill. "But seeing you, it's like he's here." Ashton's heart stuttered, the line blurring. He cupped Riley's face, thumb brushing stubble, and kissed him, fierce, desperate, tasting salt and secrets. Riley responded, hands fisting Ashton's jacket, the world narrowing to the stolen breath. They broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed, the revelation hanging, love born from loss, fragile as dawn. But dawn brought clarity's edge. Ashton woke in Riley's Portland apartment, sheets tangled, the USB on the nightstand a sentinel. Guilt gnawed, betraying Aiden's memory, yet Riley's arm draped over him felt like anchor, the first steady since the funeral. They spent the day poring over files, Riley's journalist instincts mapping a timeline, Marcus's desperation peaking with a desperate email. "Fix this or lose everything, including the other son." The words chilled Ashton. Him, leverage, by evening, resolve hardened. "We go public," Ashton said, voice steel. "For Aiden," Riley nodded, pulling him close. Together, back in Seattle, the storm brewed. Evelyn sensed the shift when Ashton returned, her eyes searching over morning coffee in the sunroom, Puget Sound glittering beyond. "You've got that look. Like when you two plotted against curfew," he almost confessed. But Marcus entered then, newspaper folded under arm, face ashen. Reporters sniffing around the crash. Police reopening it. Ashton's pulse spiked. Good. Truth's overdue. Marcus's gaze sharpened. "What do you know?" The confrontation erupted that afternoon in the study, Evelyn absent at a garden club meeting. Ashton slapped the printouts on the desk, emails, ledgers, Aiden's notes. "This. All of it. You killed him, Dad. To bury your mess." Marcus sank into his chair, color draining. "It wasn't. I didn't order it." The contractors panicked when Aiden talked to that Voss scum. "I covered tracks to protect us. The legacy." "You think I wanted my boy gone?" His voice broke, hands trembling. "Evelyn would have shattered. And you, always the dreamer, not built for this dirt." Ashton recoiled, the man he'd idolized crumbling to frailty. Legacy? Over blood. Rage boiled, fists clenched. But beneath lurked pity, the empire's toll, years of compromise etching his father's soul. Marcus's confession spilled, warnings ignored, a fixer hired who went rogue, the brake line severed in a Chehalis rest stop. "I thought it was a bluff. God. Forgive." "No," Ashton stormed out, the door slamming like thunder. He drove blindly to Riley's borrowed Seattle Airbnb, collapsing into arms that held without question. That night, tangled in sheets, Their bodies spoke what words couldn't. Slow, exploratory touches mapping grief's terrain. Riley's whispers of, "You're not him, but you're enough," unlocking something fierce in Ashton. Love, tentative, bloomed amid the wreckage, a defiant green shoot. The leak hit like a squall. Riley's editor greenlit the piece, anonymized at first, but the details scorched. Hail timbers falsified permits, clear cuts scarring old-growth stands, the fatal accident tied to whistleblower silencing. By midweek, headlines screamed from the stranger to national wires, protesters chaining themselves to dozers at the Cascade sites. Ashton watched from his loft's floor-to-ceiling windows, Elliott Bay churning gray below, Riley's head on his shoulder as they scrolled feeds. "You're a hero," Riley murmured, lips brushing Ashton's temple, the casual intimacy still startling in its sweetness. Ashton snorted, though warmth curled low. "Nah. Just the twin who showed up late." But inside, the narrative shifted. Aiden's death not senseless, but catalyst. Yet victory soured with family fallout. Evelyn's calls went unanswered, her voicemails pleading, "Come home. We can fix this." Marcus, silence. Save a single text. "Board's ousting me." Deserved it. But you watch your back. Paranoia crept in. Late nights. Ashton startled at shadows, the loft's smart locks beeping like warnings. Riley stayed over more, his presence a buffer, cooking elk burgers from a Montana hunt, debating indie films on the couch, their laughter echoing Aiden's ghost. Sex evolved too. From frantic release to tender mapping, Riley's fingers tracing Ashton's collarbone, whispering vulnerabilities from his own closeted youth in rural Bend. Oregon beatings dodged, loves lost to fear. One crisp October evening, they hiked Discovery Park, salt air whipping through madronas, the lighthouse beams sweeping like searchlights. Ashton paused at the bluff, photo in hand, the Polaroid weathered now. He'd love this. Us. Riley squeezed his waist. He knew. That last call, he said, "Tell Ash I'm sorry for the secrets. And that he's braver than me." Tears stung. But Ashton turned, kissing Riley deeply, the ocean's roar drowning doubt. For the first time, future flickered, maybe a life beyond ashes, co-authoring exposés, weekend getaways to the San Juans. But betrayal's echo lingered. Evelyn cornered him at a neutral spot, a queen and tea house, steam rising from porcelain like unspoken pleas. Her face, lined with worry, mirrored his own in frailty. "Your father's broken. Drinking again, like after the divorce scare. He confessed to me everything. It wasn't malice, just fear. Of losing the empire, of failing you boys." Ashton stirred his chai, cinnamon sharp on his tongue. "He did fail us. Aiden's gone because of choices." She reached across, hand frail on his. "And you? Hiding with that journalist? I saw the papers. Is it revenge? Or?" Heat flooded Ashton's cheeks, the closet's old creak. "It's real, Mom. Riley, he gets the mess Aiden left. Loves me for it. Not despite." The admission hung, vulnerable, and Evelyn's eyes softened, a tear tracing her powder. "Then bring him. For dinner. Let me see the man who mended my other son." Her smile trembled. Bridge extended over the chasm. Ashton hesitated, then nodded. Hope, fragile as sea glass, glinted. The dinner unfolded in magnolia's glow. Candlelight dancing on heirloom china. Pot roast simmering with rosemary from Evelyn's herb garden. Marcus sat at head, diminished, shoulders slumped, eyes bloodshot but clear. Riley arrived in chinos and a soft Henley, bouquet of dahlias in hand, charming Evelyn with tales of Portland food trucks while Ashton poured wines, tension coiling like springs. Talk skirted edges. Aiden's childhood pranks. The twins' synchronized swims in the sound, until Marcus cleared his throat. Glass clinking. Riley. The article. It was thorough. Brutal, but fair. A step down. Cooperated with feds. Charges pending. But I'll face them. Riley nodded. Professional mask slipping to empathy. Aiden believed in redemption. That's why he came to me. Marcus's gaze met Ashton's. I failed you both. The business, it consumed me. Thought providing meant everything. But love, I shorted you on that. Voice cracking. He slid an envelope across. Aiden's will. Revised post-crash. Leaving Ashton his share of the company, cleaned now, with green mandates attached. Make it right. For him, Ashton took it, throat tight, the gesture a suture on old wounds. Evelyn rose, hugging Riley fiercely. Welcome, dear. To whatever this becomes. Laughter followed, tentative, as they cleared plates, stories flowing freer. Later, in the guest room, Ashton and Riley lay entwined, the house's creaks a lullaby. Family's messy, Riley whispered, fingers in Ashton's hair. But yours? They're trying. Ashton kissed his neck. Pulse steady. Ours. Yet crisis loomed unbidden. 2 days later, a knock shattered the idyll. Detectives at Ashton's door, badges glinting under hallway fluorescence. Mr. Hale, we need to talk about Riley Voss. Obstruction in the investigation. Ashton's blood iced. Riley, in the kitchen brewing coffee, froze mid-pour. The lead, a wiry woman named Torres with a no-nonsense bun, laid it out. Riley's sources included hacked Hale emails, borderline illegal. Your brother's death ties in. Voss pushed the story knowing risks. You withholding evidence. Denials tumbled, but doubt seeded. That night, after statements downtown, Ashton confronted Riley on the balcony, city lights sprawling like circuits. Did you hack? Put Aiden in crosshairs. Riley paced, wind tousling his hair. I sourced ethically tips from insiders. But yeah, a contact slipped me files. I thought it protected him. Sped justice. His eyes pleaded. Ash, I never meant to lie? Ashton snapped, the echo of family deceit ringing hollow. I'm tired of secrets eating us alive. Riley stopped, face crumpling. Then go. If trust's shattered, I won't chain you. He turned away, shoulders rigid, the chasm widening. Ashton stormed out, driving aimless through Fremont's troll-haunted streets, grief's fresh wave crashing. Betrayal layered fathers, now lovers, leaving him adrift. He crashed at a buddy's in Ballard, crashing waves from the ship canal mocking his turmoil. Days blurred, work emails ignored, runs along the locks turning punishing, Aiden's photo his only companion. Evelyn's texts anchored, healing isn't linear. Love. Come when ready. Marcus sent books on corporate ethics. Grief memoirs, silent amends. But Riley, radio silence. The void aching like phantom limb. On a fog-bound Saturday, Ashton found himself at the cemetery, grave sod settling uneven. He traced Aiden's headstone. Granite cool, Aiden Hale, beloved twin, eternal explorer. What a mess. Bro, he whispered, tears soaking earth. Loved him, hated him, still do. How do I choose without you? A rustle, Riley, hands in pockets, eyes red-rimmed. Torres cleared me. Technicality. But I get if you're done. He knelt, placing wildflowers, oxeye daisies, Aiden's favorite. I lied by omission. Scared you'd see me as user, not partner. Ashton rose, heart fracturing open. I see you. Flawed. Like me. Like us all. He pulled Riley up. Embrace fierce against the mist. No more running. We face it. Together. Ugly truths and all. Kisses followed. Salt tanged. Renewal in the rain. Back at the loft. They burned the old photo, not erasure, but release, ashes scattering to bay winds. Love. Tested. Deepened. Mornings tangled in sheets. Evenings plotting Aiden's foundation. Eco-grants for queer youth in logging towns. Honoring his fire. Winter softened to spring. Seattle's cherries blooming defiant. At a quiet ceremony in Volunteer Park, Evelyn and Marcus toasted the foundation's launch. Riley's arm around Ashton's waist. Their rings simple silver, vowed in a courthouse elopement. Witnesses a barista and old friend. To Aiden, Marcus raised glass. Voice steady. Who taught us love's the real legacy? Ashton met Riley's gaze. Eyes locking in promise. The mystery unraveled. Lies confessed. Betrayal forged to strength. In the hush of evergreens, healing whispered. Not perfection, but presence. Hearts mended in the quiet roar of living. Summer heat baked the cascades, but Ashton's world cooled to crystalline focus. The foundation, Aiden's echo, took root in a repurposed mill in Snoqualmie. Grants flowing to kids like them, queer runaways from rural hollows, armed with scholarships for environmental law, coding boot camps blending tech with conservation. He and Riley co-directed, their loft a war room of whiteboards and takeout boxes, debates sparking into midnight tangles. Yet shadows lingered. Marcus's trial loomed in federal court. Plea bargain shaving years but not stigma. Evelyn visited weekly. Her scrapbooks of Aiden's boyhood a ritual. Photos of twins in oversized Mariners jerseys. Mud-splattered after Soundside soccer. He'd be proud, she'd say, squeezing Ashton's hand. Riley's too. The trio knitting tighter. One July dawn, Ashton woke to Riley's absence. Coffee brewing solo. Trial prep, Riley explained over mugs. Dark circles under eyes from pro bono consults. Your dad's testifying against the contractors. Could flip the whole ring. Ashton nodded, unease coiling. Marcus had changed, volunteering at the foundation. Silver hair cropped military short. Eyes clearer sans bourbon. But trust? A work in progress. Like their marriage. Anniversaries marked with beach bonfires, where Riley's laughter evoked Aiden's. A bridge, not replacement. The crisis crested unexpectedly. At a foundation gala in Pike Place Market's underbelly, a converted pavilion strung with Edison bulbs and alder tables, reporters swarmed. Ashton schmoozed donors in linen slacks, Riley charming a cluster of activists. When a face from the past sliced through, Dolores, the Astoria clerk, tipsy on Pinot, clutching his arm. Your brother's ghost haunts me, huh? That night, the rec call came through. But Riley, he was here. Portland. Filing that piece. Timeline's off. Her slurred whisper ignited murmurs. Phones whipping out. Ashton's stomach plummeted. Riley caught his eye across the room, paling as the accusation rippled. Later, in a shadowed alley behind the market, fish guts scenting the air, they faced it. She lying? Ashton's voice cracked, fists balled. Riley deflated against brick. Half-truth. I drove up after the crash, corroborated alibis for contacts. But the article, drafted pre-rec, based on Aiden's tips, accelerated publish to honor him. Shame etched his features. The man who'd vowed transparency fracturing again. You used his death? Horror choked Ashton. Visions of Aiden's final pleas. Protect it. Twisting to exploitation. Not like that. Grief fueled it. Yeah. Pushed too hard. Riley stepped close. Desperate. Ash. I'm sorry. Again. The alley spun. Betrayal's familiar sting. Ashton shoved past, hailing a cab to the loft, slamming doors like punctuation. Alone, he scrolled old chats, Aiden's warnings, Riley's omissions stacking like indictments. Dawn found him packing a duffel. Note scrawled, need space. Lies erode us. He fled to the Olympic Peninsula, crashing at a friend's cabin near Lake Crescent. Pines whispering judgment. Days dissolved in hikes, solitary treks to Solduc Falls, water thundering catharsis. Calls from Evelyn. Talk to him. Love's not ledger. Riley's texts. Raw pleas. Voice memos cracking with sobs. I see my failures. But I see you whole. Irreplaceable. Marcus showed too. Unannounced. Hiking boots traded for loafers. Bearing trout from the lake. They fished in silence first. Lines plunking water. Then words. I lied to protect. 2. Ruined everything. Don't repeat my cage. His hand on Ashton's shoulder. Paternal now. Untainted. Fight for truth. And forgiveness. Nights. Ashton journaled by firelight. Aiden's voice imagined. Bro. Life's not binary. Messy codes. Remember. Debug with heart. Clarity crept. Riley's flaws mirrored his own. Impulse in code commits. Love's hasty merges. Betrayal wasn't endpoint, but pivot. He returned on a harvest moon. Duffel unpacked. Loft dim. Riley waited on the balcony. Hollow-cheeked. A bottle of that first whiskey between them. If you're here to end. Ashton silenced him with a kiss. Fierce. Reclaiming. To rebuild. Therapy. Boundaries, full disclosure. No more ghosts dictating. Relief shattered Riley. Tears mingling as they sank to the rug. bodies reaffirming vows. I choose you. Every flawed line. Fall deepened. Leaves carpeting Fremont streets like confetti. Marcus's sentencing came gentle. Probation. Restitution. A public apology at the Foundation's next event. Ashton stood beside him. Evelyn's arm linked. Riley's hand in his pocket. I accept your remorse, Ashton said post-hearing. Over diner pie in West Seattle. But actions now. Help us heal the land he loved. Marcus nodded. Eyes wet. Deal. Son. Winter solstice brought renewal. A vow renewal under the aurora. Rare Seattle show. In Discovery Park. Just them and stars. Riley's words. Rings slipped anew. Through mysteries and men's. You're my north. Ashton's. In lies unraveled. Love's the code that runs true. Spring unfurled. Echo thriving, first cohort graduating. Queer coders planting saplings in scarred groves. At the ceremony, Ashton spoke. Riley beside. Aiden's echo isn't silence, but song, reminding us betrayal breaks, but humanity rebuilds. Applause rose. Evelyn beaming. Marcus clapping proud. In quiet afters, on their balcony with sound views, Ashton traced Riley's tattoo, the not now inked matching on his own rib. Worth the unraveling? Riley grinned, crooked as ever. Every thread. As the Foundation's second year dawned, Ashton's life wove tighter, workdays coding grant trackers, evenings with Riley scouting sites in the Olympics, their SUV bumping logging roads turned trails. Aiden's presence softened to talisman, a jazz record spinning on lazy Sundays, his laugh in every shared joke. But undercurrents stirred. Whispers from old Hale contacts, resentments bubbling, anonymous emails hinting sabotage. One muggy August eve, as they grilled cedar plank salmon on the balcony, Riley's phone buzzed insistent. He glanced, paling. Torres again. Loose ends on the contractors, one's talking. Claims your dad knew about the brakes pre-crash. Ashton's fork clattered. He swore. Probation hearing tomorrow. Could revoke. Riley's hand covered his. Steady. We'll go. Together. Courtroom in downtown Tacoma hummed sterile. Marcus in ill-fit suit. Evelyn beside fidgeting rosary. The contractor, burly ex-logger named Harlan, face pocked from chainsaw scars, testified slick. Hale Sr. greenlit the quiet on the whistleblower. Brakes were Plan B. Marcus surged. Shackled briefly. Lies. I cut ties after. His lawyer scrambled. But the judge's gavel fell. Revocation. 2 years minimum. Ashton bolted post-verdict. Bile rising in the hall. Evelyn chased. Sobbing. He protected you always. Don't let this eclipse. But eclipse it did. Driving home. Rain lashing. Ashton veered to the cemetery. Grave overgrown with ferns. You see this? Gate? Dad's cage closing again. Kneeling. Mud seeping. Grief's dam cracked. Sobs racking. Aiden's secrets paling to this fresh wound. Riley found him there. Umbrella sheltering. Silent vigil. Later. In the car. Ashton's rage spilled. How many layers? Family's poison. Lies on lies. Riley nodded. Chin set. Then we excise. Therapy for him. Boundaries for us. But abandon? No. That's their win. Ashton's nod came grudging, but Riley's logic anchored love as choice, not blood default. They visited Marcus in county lockup. Chain-link views of Tacoma's industrial sprawl. His father, orange jumpsuit, looked shrunken. Earned this. Use it. Teach the kids real legacy's integrity, not inheritance. Words pierced, Ashton's throat bobbing. I will. But visit, right? Every chance. Marcus's grin. Faint Aiden echo. Sealed tentative peace. Autumn brought harvest festivals. Echo hosting cider presses in fallow hayfields, now community plots. Ashton and Riley led workshops. Hands dirted planting natives. Queer teens opening up over bonfires. Stories of rejection mirroring theirs. One night, a lanky kid named Theo, 18, from Yakima Orchards, confided, "My brother's straight, but he fights for me." Makes coming out less solo. Ashton's chest swelled, glancing at Riley tossing logs. Twins do that. Or should. Crisis pivoted there. November gale howled, uprooting young trees at a echo site near MT. Rainier. Volunteers scrambled, but sabotage emerged. Axes marks deliberate. Culprits old Hale loyalists. Grudge-fueled. Police tape fluttered as Ashton surveyed wreckage. Fury white-hot. "This you're doing?" A detective cornered him, implying insider grudge. Riley intervened, arm barring. "Back off. We're victims here." But seeds of doubt sprouted. Ashton's Hale name a curse? Nights. Paranoia gripped. Locks double-checked. Drives to sites tense. Riley sensed, pulling him to bed with deliberate slowness. Touches grounding. We're not them. Our stories rewrite. Climax crested at Thanksgiving. Magnolia House neutral ground despite Marcus's absence. Evelyn's invite. Bridge extended. Table groaned with turkey. Cranberry relish. Pies from Theo's family recipe shared in thanks. Talk meandered. Foundation wins. Riley's new book deal on green journalism. Then, a knock delivery, but inside, a box. Aiden's effects from impound. Belated. They gathered post-meal. Fire crackling. Unpacking. Surfboard wax. Journal entries poetic on Oregon coasts. A letter unsealed. Ashton's hands shook unfolding. Ash, if you're reading, forgive Dad. He buried love under logs, but it's there. And Riley, he's storm-tossed, but true. Love him for me. Yours forever. 8. Tears collective. Evelyn's sobs mingling Riley's quiet hitch. Ashton met his husband's eyes. Letter trembling. He knew. Marcus called collect later. Voice tinny. Heard about the letter. Proud of you, boys. Holding steady here. Healing's arc bent gentle after. Winter solstice. They scattered Aiden's ashes, saved portion. At that Oregon beach. Waves lapping Polaroid sight. Riley's vow renewed whisper. From mystery to this us. Unbreakable. Spring bloomed fuller. Echo saplings thriving. Ashton's app launching. Mapping corporate sins. Crowdsourced for justice. At the relaunch. Donors toasted. Theo emceeing with newfound poise. Evelyn danced with Marcus via video from visitation. Her laugh light. In their loft. Balcony stars pricking velvet. Ashton leaned into Riley. Betrayal's scar. But look, stronger weave. Riley kissed his temple. Love's the thread that holds. As Echo scaled, Ashton's days blurred ambition and anchor. Keynote speeches at Seattle Pride Tech Summits, where queer coders networked under rainbow banners. Quiet drives with Riley to hoe rainforest. Moss-draped giants whispering absolution. Aiden's journal became Bible, entries on vulnerability fueling Ashton's TEDx talk. From twin shadows to self-light, grief as gay cartography. But undercurrents surged. Harlan, the contractor, paroled early on good behavior, surfaced in tabloids. Hale Air's lover profited from pain. Smear piece. Riley's book painted exploitative. Sales tanking. Hate mail flooded. Slurs scrawled on foundation posters. Blood money fag inked bold. Riley withdrew. Nights hunched over revisions. Whiskey measure doubling. Maybe they're right. I chased the dragon. Ashton shut it down, straddling his lap fierce. No. We chased truth. Together, lovemaking followed urgent, reclaiming agency, bodies slick with sweat and surety. Evelyn rallied, hosting a salon in Magnolia, literati allies vouching Riley's integrity, book rebounding on buzz. Marcus, from Penn, sent clippings, knew you'd rise. Like Aiden's surf wipeout to wave, yet personal quake hit. Anniversary Eve. Ashton's phone lit. Unknown. Voice distorted. Voss ain't clean. Check his ex. Secrets buried deeper than your twin. Click. Doubt gnawed dawn. Riley slept sound. But Ashton slipped to study. Digging. Riley's past. Bend Roots ex named Connor. Vanished post-coming-out scandal. Forums whispered. Assault cover-up. Riley fleeing blame. Confrontation brewed over breakfast. Bagels toasting. Connor, who? Ashton's tone edged. Phone thrust. Riley's fork paused. Color draining. Ancient. Toxic. Beat me black after I left. I pressed charges. He skipped town. Why now? The call. Accusations. Ashton's heart hammered. Old fears. Another layer peeled to rot. Riley stood. Shirt lifting to reveal faded scars, ribcage modeled. This why? Proof. Hid it to spare you my baggage. Vulnerability raw. He cupped Ashton's face. But no more vaults. Ask anything. Questions poured. Connor's taunts post-break. Riley's therapy trenches. The fear fueling his crusades. Ashton listened. Scars mirroring his own. Emotional bruises from Marcus's neglect. Aiden's pedestal pressure. We're scarred editions, he murmured, pulling Riley close. Match set. Resolution sealed in couples counseling. Dr. Lena's office overlooking Lake Union, houseboats bobbing like buoys. Sessions dissected. Ashton's twin loss abandonment. Riley's survivor guilt. Breakthrough came mid-fall. Leaves flaming. Betrayal's not endpoint, Lena coached. It's invitation to deeper trust. Winter wrapped them cozy. Echo's holiday gala at the mill aglow. Strings of lights on beams. Queer carolers blending Sufjan with synth. Theo. Now in turn. Toasted. To echoes that amplify. Not erase. Ashton. Arm round Riley. Felt Aiden's grin in the cheer. But climax shadowed New Year's. A break-in at the loft. Nothing stolen. But Aiden's journal rifled. Pages dog-eared ominous. Police dusted. Prince Harlan's. Panic-crested. Ashton insisted Riley crash at Evelyn's, but Riley refused. Together. Remember. Stakeout followed. They're doing nights in the SUV outside. Thermos coffee steaming. Vigil paid. Harlan skulking. Caught mid-vandalism by patrols tipped. Interrogation spilled. Grudge vendetta. Connor's puppet. Ex's revenge via old cellmate. Charges stuck. Harlan remanded. Connor extradited from Idaho hideout. Court closure came spring. Ashton's testimony steady. Hate cycle ends here. With justice. Not vengeance. Riley's book tour launched triumphant. Dedications to H. And H. Lights in dark feeds. Signings in Portland. Readings electric. Fans queuing tales of their own unweaves. Summer solstice. They honeymooned Astoria. Motel upgraded. Lighthouse climbs at dawn. On the beach. Waves erasing footprints. Ashton knelt. Marry me again? Annually. Till we're creaky. Riley laughed. Yes, tumbling free. Eternal debug. Back. Echo's milestone. 1000th tree planted. Ceremony with drones filming canopy rebirth. Marcus. Paroled early for model behavior. Shoveled first dirt. Evelyn beside beaming. Full circle, he rasped, hugging Ashton. Thanks for the grace. Ashton nodded. Riley's hand warm. Earned it, Dad. In twilight, as crowds dispersed, Ashton and Riley lingered, saplings tender. From funeral fog to this forest, Riley mused. Ashton kissed him slow. Love's the root that regrows. As Echo's canopy thickened, so did Ashton's resolve. Board expansions to include ex-loggers retrained in sustainable tech. Apps evolving to VR simulations of lost groves. Riley's sequel brewed. Co-written now. Chapters laced with Ashton's code metaphors. Bugs in the system. Patched with persistence. Family mended incremental. Marcus's parole cabin in the Cascades became retreat. Fly fishing derbies where he'd rib Riley on casts. Evelyn's quilts draping bunks. You're the son-in-law glue, she'd wink, passing pie. But underbelly stirred. Fall rains returned vengeful, washing out a Echo bridge near MT. Helen's. Rescue ops pulled volunteers safe, but a teen, Javi, non-binary from Spokane Res, twisted ankle bad, infection brewing. Blame flu, site mismanagement, hail curse revived in whispers. Ashton shouldered it. Hospital vigils at Javi's bedside. Riley coordinating supplies. Not your fault, Riley urged. Coffee runs blurring. But guilt festered. Nights Ashton pacing. Aiden died on my watch too. Ignored signs. Riley pulled him down. Grounding. And we rose. Javi will too. Their lovemaking turned healing ritual slow circles. Breaths synced like code compiles. Crisis peaked Thanksgiving redux. Storm surge flooded the mill. Archives soaked journals, ledgers. Aiden's digitized but backups corrupted. Volunteers bailed water hip deep. Marcus arriving uncalled. Sleeves rolled. Legacy's not paper, he grunted. Hauling crates. It's this us. Wet and willing. Damage tallied grim. Months setback. Donors wavered. Press spun, Echo drowned. Ashton called emergency board. Voice frayed. Pivot or perish? Riley's idea sparked. Crowdfund campaign. Replant the roots. Stories from beneficiaries. Live-streamed rebuilds. It ignited. Pledges pouring. Javi's recovery vid viral. Echo saved me. Now I save it. Winter healed slow. Mill drying under dehumidifiers humming like hymns. New Year's. They toasted in the loft. Sound fireworks blooming. To floods flushed. Riley quipped. Nuzzling. Ashton grinned. And loves that buoy. Spring surge. Rebuild gala hybrid. Virtual to global queers. Theo MC'd. Now grad-bound in enviropolicy. Speeches soared. Evelyn's on maternal men's. Marcus's on redemption's dirt. Ashton's close. Mystery started in mud. A funeral. Now, a movement. Aiden. This grove's yours. Applause thundered. Riley's kiss backstage salt sweet. Yet personal tempest brewed subtle. Riley's ex-ghost resurfaced. Connor's trial unearthed letters. Riley's youthful pleas for reconciliation. I still clipped. Ashton found them in a box. Unpacked post-flood. Doubt deluge. You wrote this when? Riley. Sorting files. Froze. Post-assault. Trauma haze thought love fixed fists. Burned the rest. Kept as cautionary. Ice pleading. Never sent. Chose safety you. Ashton's chest tightened. Old abandonment flaring. Twins sink shattered by secrets. Cautionary? Or unfinished? Argument erupted. Words whips. Riley's you're projecting hail lies. Ashton's and your hoarding heart. Doors slammed. Riley crashing at a motel. Ashton's couch solitary. Days dragged. Work mechanical, trees planted rote. Smiles strained. Evelyn mediated coffee clatch. Darling, love's not ledger of letters. Its leap repeated. Marcus called. Fought for your mom once. Post my mess. Worth the bruise. Theo's text pierced. Saw you two at Pride last year, glowed. Don't dim. Reunion came rain-lashed. Riley at the loft door. Drenched. Missed your debug. Letters were ghosts, your flesh. Ashton yanked him in. Kiss devouring distance. Apologies murmured in sheets. Summer healed horizontal. Counseling deepened. Letters ritually burned in the cascades. Ashes to soil. Echo's anniversary hike. Cohort trailing ferns. Javi on crutches turned cane. Sharing res tales. A bluff overlook. Empty. Rainier snow-capped. Ashton pulled Riley aside. Marry me yearly? Vows evolve. Like us. Riley's yes. Ring twirl. Code update accepted. Fall harvest. Mill aglow harvest moons. They hosted wedding intimate. Queer elders officiating under beams. Vows. Ashton's in betrayals braved. I choose your chaos. Riley's from texts to this trust eternal compile. Evelyn danced with Marcus. Tears joyful. Theo caught bouquet. Blushing. Winter wrapped content. Foundation's year-end report. Groves greening. Lives lifted. Balcony stargaze. Ashton's head on Riley's lap. Funeral feels eon ago. Riley stroked hair. Mystery solved. Love's the reveal. Echo's third-year crested wave-like. Grants swelling to national. Satellites in Cali redwoods. Vermont maples. Ashton's keynote circuit buzzed. South by Southwest panels on queer code for climate justice. Riley moderating. Their banter electric. Bugs in the binary? That's us. Glitching to glory. Family fused fuller. Marcus's cabin expansions. Guest loft for visits. Fly tying lessons where he'd quip. Hooks catch fish. Not hearts learned late. Evelyn's garden bloomed rainbow flags. Her memoir brewing. Widow's walk to son-in-law shore. But seismic shifted subtle. Spring equinox. A donor luncheon at the mill. Silver-haired exec from Portland. Harlan's cousin. Toasting effusive then cornering Ashton. Vasa's book? Twisted Truths. My kin rotted for your vendetta. Words slithered. But Ashton brushed off until anonymous drop. USB Redux. Riley's real sources labeled. Heart leaden. Deplugged in solo. Riley at a reading. Files unfolded damning. Riley's emails to shady informants. Payoffs veiled as travel reimbursements. Timestamps pre-Aiden. Ethics bent for scoops. Rage boiled. Laptop slammed. Riley returned buoyant. Signing Hall under arm. But Ashton's face shuddered it. Explain this. Drive thrust. Riley scanned. Draining white. Old sins, early career. Hungry for bylines. Cut those ties years back. Before us. Plea raw. Ash. It's fossil. Fossil fuels your integrity? Ashton's voice shattered. Wounds reopening. Trust's fragile rebuild. Now rubble. Aiden died chasing your truths. How many more buried? Riley recoiled. Stung. I changed for him. For you. Therapy logs. If you doubt. But doubt drowned. Ashton fled to the cabin. Marcus's domain. Solitary hikes in talus fields. Fishing lines meditative. Again. Marcus joined. Rod casting companionable. Love's lab test. Fail. Iterate. Vas? He's iterated. Question is. You. Evelyn's arrival. Thermos soup steaming. Darling. Ghosts gossip. Live with the living. Theo's call. Voice teen earnest. Mentors fight. Right? Like family. Echo needs your echo. Climax crashed solstice eve. Storm fiercer than 23. Cascades flash floods washing echoes north plot. Saplings uprooted. A bridge gone. Alerts blared. Ashton mobilizing from cabin. Volunteers airlifted. Javi coordinating drones for damage assess. Riley appeared at helipad. Soaked. Hauling ropes. Heard. Here to help. No plea. Just action nights bailing. Days replanting. His hands blistered beside Ashton's. Mid-rebuild. Under tent amid mud. Truth tent. Paid those sources once. Riley confessed. Fire crackling. Shame's scar. Drove me ethical harder. For Aiden's memory. Your heart. Ashton met gaze. Rain drumming canvas. Scars match. Then. Mine from doubting you. Embrace followed. Mud smeared. Renewal raw. Resolution rooted summer. Ethics audit for Echo. Riley co-leading transparency protocols. Book revised. Addendum on sins sourced. Lessons logged. Fall foliage tour. Cohort road tripping Vermont. Planting with local queer collectives. Maple taps. Bonfires. Stories swapped. At a Burlington Inn. Ashton's proposal annual. Vow upgrade trust toolkit? Riley's yes. Laughter bubbling. Firmware flash. Winter's gala grandeur. Mill festooned evergreens. Donors dazzled by drone light shows of regrown groves. Marcus emceed. Parole polished to poise. From felled trees to family trees, gratitude. Evelyn's toast. To twins eternal. Love's enduring. Ashton and Riley slow danced. Whispers weaving. Betrayal's blueprint. Built us bulletproof. Spring bloomed boundless. Echoes app beta global. Users mapping corporate shadows. Queer voices amplified. At Launch Beach, Oregon Sands. Aiden's haunt. They buried a time capsule. Polaroid copy. Journal page. Rings etched vows. Waves lapped. Javi filming. From funeral to forever. Ashton kissed Riley salt deep. Mystery mastered. Love's the constant. Echo's fourth cycle spun golden. Partnerships blooming with Sierra Club. Apps integrating AI for predictive eco-threats. Ashton's brainchild. Riley narrating user guides with storyteller flair. Their life synced seamless. Morning runs along Alki, where Aiden once body surfed. Evenings scripting podcasts. Echo waves, interviewing survivors of corporate climates. Family flourished. Marcus's memoir ghosted by Riley. Timber falls. Grace rises. Bestseller in green circles. Proceeds to Echo. Evelyn's garden weddings. Theo's included. To a coder from the cohort became tradition. Her presiding with Unitarian warmth. But undergrowth tangled. Midsummer heatwave scorched Cascades plots. Wildfires licking edges, climate's cruel cue. Evacuations loomed. Ashton's war room the loft. Maps pinned. Calls frantic. We lose this. Echo crumbles. He muttered. Eyes hollow. Riley anchored. Massages needing knots. Or rebirths fiercer. Their intimacy deepened therapeutic. Tantric explorations. Breaths breath to breath. Vulnerabilities voiced. Ashton's orphan ache. Twin void. Riley's scar map. Trust's tender rebuild. Crisis ignited literal. Blaze jumped lines. Mill threatened. Fire crews helicoptered in. But a spotter plane caught anomaly, arson traces, old growth accelerant. Sabotage redux. Whispers pointing corporate rivals irked by Echo's exposés. FBI looped in. Torres leading. Voss's contacts? Any grudge holders? Suspicion veiled on Riley. Old smears resurfacing. Ashton's defense flared. He's clean, audited. But seeds sprouted. Late-night digs unearthed Riley's pre-marriage email to a source. Need dirt on Hale extensions. Pays flexible. Fossil again. But time suspicious. Confrontation campfire. Cascades perimeter. Flames mirroring fury. Another. Ashton's hurt honed. When does past stop haunting? Riley poked embers. Sparks rising. When we bury it proper. That was desperation. Post-Connor. Scraping bylines. Deleted chain. But ghosts archive. Voice broke. Doubt me. But don't discard. Silence stretched. Coyotes yipping judgment. Ashton rose. Walking perimeter alone. Stars indicting. Marcus's text glowed. Fires forge. Remember my blaze. Dawn decision. Joint session with Lena. Virtual amid ash. Patterns repeat till named, she urged. Riley named. Fear of inadequacy. Chase scoops to prove worth. Ashton. Abandonment echo. Twins. Dads. Now this. Healing hike followed. To a scorched meadow regreening stubborn. Wildflowers defiant. Like us, Riley said. Hand-laced. Ashton squeezed. Resilient code. Resolution rooted fall. Arsonist nabbed, rival exec. Not Riley, trial swift. Echo's vigilance vindicated. Wildfire rebuild became campaign. Burn bright. Fire-adapted species. Queer firefighters spotlighted. Winter's hush healed. Cabin retreat. Snowshoeing with Marcus and Evelyn. Stories steaming mugs. You two balance, Marcus noted, eyeing their synced strides. Gala glow. Mill reborn with fireproof retrofits. Donors awed by VR tours of Phoenix Groves. Javi, now field lead. Toasted. From ashes. Allies. Ashton and Riley's dance. Whispers warm. Crisis coded. Love decrypts. Spring equinox. Annual vows on the beach. Ashton's in blazes braved. I bank your fire. Riley's, from sparks of doubt to steady flame you. Summer solstice. Echo's global summit. Delegates from Amazon basins. Tales traded under geodesic dome. Theo's keynote soared. Family beaming. In afterglow. Loft balcony. Puget fireworks fading. Ashton traced Riley's jaw. Funeral's fog. Cleared to this clarity. Riley smiled. Crooked eternal. Love's the lens. As Echo crested 5 years. Legacy solidified, satellites in boreal Canada. Apps alerting indigenous stewards to incursions. Queer networks woven worldwide. Ashton's book deal mirrored Riley's. Debugging Despair. A twins code for climate kinship. Forward by husband. Afterward Aiden's journal excerpt. Life layered lush. Theo's wedding birthed godparent duties. Javi's res partnership yielding co-op models. Marcus and Evelyn's vow renewal silver anniversary. Cascades Chapel. Ashton officiating. Riley ring bearing. Circle complete. But tempests tempt. Harvest moon. A donor scandal erupted. Major funder exposed laundering via greenwashing. Echo's name tangential in leaks. Press hounded. Hail curses again? Ashton fielded furious. Loft a bunker. Coincidence, he insisted. But sleep evaded. Nightmares of Aiden's wreck replaying with funder's face. Riley rallied. Audit again. Clean hands. But strain showed. Arguments over optics. Riley's publish preemptive. Clashing Ashton's wait for facts. Fracture faulted Thanksgiving. Family feast strained. Marcus's own the narrative echoing old boardroom bluster. Post-pie exodus. Ashton snapped. Not everything spin. Riley retreated to study. Door soft shut. Silence screamed. Ashton's apology lodged. Crisis cascaded. Leak source traced to insider. Theo's mentee. Disgruntled over grant denial. Betrayal sting double. Youth they'd uplifted. Now undermining. Interrogation gentle but gutting. Kids sob. Felt invisible, wanted notice. Echo's ethos tested. Forgive or fracture. Board meeting polar. Sever ties. Or rehabilitate. Ashton's vote. Second chance. Our story's script. Riley backed. But post-meet. Chasm cracked. Soft? After all. Ashton's retort. Hard? Like your old payoffs. Fossil flung. Wound reopened. Storm split. Riley to Portland motel. Space to sort. Ashton to cabin. Marcus's wisdom waiting. Bridges burn easy. Build with care. Evelyn's email. Photos attached. Twins toddler. Mud pie makers. Mess makes masterpieces. Theo's mediation hike. Fremont woods. Leaves crunching. Mentored me through doubt, you too. My north. Echoes not empire. It's empathy. Reunion rain-drenched. Riley at cabin door. Theo's pie peace offering. Missed your metric, Riley murmured. Arms opening. Ashton folded in. Recalibrate together. Resolution ripened winter. Insider program revamped. Mentorship with accountability. Scandal spun to strength in stumbles campaign. Pledges rebounding. Gala grandeur. Mill mirage of lights. Scandal survivor stories centering. Javi emceed. Theo beside beaming. Marcus's mic drop. From board betrayals to boardroom betters, here's to us. Ashton and Riley's toast. Intertwined. To insiders and outsiders, woven whole. Spring vows verdant. Beachside. Waves witness. Ashton's in scandals survived. I script our sequel. Riley's, from leaks to legacies, you. Summer summit soared. Global queers converging Seattle. Panels pulsing progress. Post-plenaries. Balcony brews. Ashton mused. Mysteries arc. Closed? Riley chuckled. Open source, endless edits. Fall's foliage framed family fusion. Marcus Evelyn travels. Postcards poetic. Echoes harvest hall. Groves grandeur. Lives linked. Winter wrapped wistful. Anniversary aurora. Park picnic. Ashton's head pillowed Riley's thigh. Funeral's phantom. Faded to family. Riley's fingers carded hair. Love's the light that lingers. Yet epilogue echoed deeper. One crystalline morn. Mail brought unmarked. Aiden's surfboard. Repaired from storage. Note from old Alki shopkeep. Heard your tales. Ride for him. They hauled it to sound. Wetsuits zipped. Waves welcoming. Ashton paddled out. Riley trailing. Cresting foam. Salt spray stung. Aiden's whoop imagined. Back shore wrapped. Towel steaming. Full circle. Ashton breathed. Riley kissed brine lips. Infinite loop. Echo's sixth sunrise gilded all. Empires echoed in policy shifts. Hail Timber rebranded Hail Harmony under Marcus's ethical helm. Queer board majority. Ashton's apps ubiquitted. UN nods. Riley's docs screening festivals. Unraveled roots. Oscar buzz. Life luxuriant. Theo Javi's adoption papers. Aunt Uncle Ashton Riley doting weekends. Evelyn's grandbaby quilt circle. Marcus carving cradles. Full nest, he'd grin. Eyes twinkling twin-like. But closure calls quietly. Autumn equinox. A letter arrived. Connor paroled. Address Portland rehabbed. Restitution penned. Riley, forgive my fracture? Peace offering. Riley paled. Envelope trembling. Ghost gala. Ashton shouldered. Burn or bridge. Choice brewed over bonfire. Cascades. Flames fed letter. Ashes airborne. Bridge burned, Riley decided. New spans hours. Crisis cameo. Wildfire remnant flare. Echo plot nipped. But protocols primed, crews quelled quick. Community cookouts catalyzing. Resolution radiant. Fall forum. Survivors sharing. Scars stories. Fires forge. Javi quoted. Circle nodding. Winters weave. Gala galaxy. Mill Milky Way projections. Theo's tyke-toddled stage. Stealing show. Evelyn's embrace. Aiden's in that giggle. Ashton Riley dance. Murmurs merging. Betrayals banked. Blaze eternal. Spring vows sapphire. Beach. Blooms bordering. Ashton's in phantoms faced. I frame our forever. Riley's, from texts to toasts you. Summer's symphony. Summit seaside. Oregon cohorts. Aiden's beach bonfire. Waves whispered wisdom. Stars scripted sequels. Yet humanistic heart hummed deepest. One eve. Loft lamplit. Ashton's journal open. Aiden's echo inked. Love's not absence, but abundance. Lies to lights. Riley read. I soft. He nailed it. Ashton pulled close. We lived it. Decades dawned. Echo evergreen. Grove's guardians. Lives legacies. Funerals fog. Fully fledged to family firmament. In balcony hush. Sounds serenading. Ashton traced Riley's ring. Mystery's moral? Riley's smile. Sunset slow. Love redeems, raw, relentless, real. Humanity's hymn. Not flawless finale, but flawed flourishing, betrayals to bonds. Grief to grace. Twins' tale twined eternal.